Well, I remember I met Leon first of all in San Antonio. Newgrass Revival was opening for him, and so I was real good friends with those guys, real good friends. So we had the day off from Disney or something or two, and then we went to that show. After the show, he was a rock star then. I mean, his huge entourage. I mean, there's 50,000 people in the San Antonio auditorium or wherever he played, and Willie was hanging out with him. So we go back to the room, hotel room, and Leon and Willie go to open the door to the balcony down to the street, and they start throwing. Well, mainly it was Leon throwing $100 bills over the balcony. This street sweeper coming along, sweeping the street, and he sees $100 bill, and he picks it up, puts it in his, looks around, and Leon just keeps throwing them. And finally, he just noticed they're dropping, and Leon and Willie standing there looking at the guy, and he looks up at him, and Leon goes, "Those are for you, man. Those are for you right there." And it was just a time I'll never forget, obviously, because that was in 74 maybe, or no, 73 probably. And so that was kind of when I first met Leon. And then the way I got in the studio with Leon was the bluegrass band I moved here with in 73, and this would be in 74, in January 74. A bluegrass band was playing downtown Bluefield, and we were playing at the Old Time Picking Parlor when they had a stage there. There was a lot of great people played there. It was really one of the small places right on 2nd Avenue now where, for sure it ain't there. I think it's a sushi place now, or it was even that. But they came in with David Allen Coe brought them in there, and with Willie and Leon and J.J. Cale. Leon wants to get up and play. So we get him up there and say, "Yeah, Leon, he's kind of, can I play with y'all?" We go, "Yeah, come on up." So we did Rolling with Sweet Baby's Arm or something, we'd know, he'd know. We maybe did a couple other songs, I don't remember. He says, "What are y'all guys doing after the show tonight?" And I said, "Well, we ain't doing nothing." He said, "Well, we got a studio, but we don't have a band." And he said, "Would you come play?" So we don't get off to midnight. Well, that's perfect. That's about when we start. So, so we go there that night and stay there all night. And it went on for about 4 or 5 days like that. We get through playing and go over there and stay up all night playing. And think, God, this is great. I mean, we'd never been in the studio. We came here to get a record deal, but we'd never been in a studio like that. And here we are playing with Willie and Cale and Leon, And I just remember that when we were doing, what was the song? If I Were a Carpenter. And Leon was trying to teach me to play it. He said, "You got to lay back, man." I don't know what laid back is. I'm in a bluegrass band, Everything's like on first down or maybe about, but he's trying to get me to lay back a little bit. I don't know, lay back. Just play a little bit behind the beat, and it's a great lesson from the Tulsa, groove guy and Cale, the groove guy. But Cale, asked Cale about it later. I said, "Cale, do you remember doing this session?" He goes, "Oh, Kenner, man, I was so drunk. It's a wonder they even let me in the studio." He said, "I don't hardly remember none of that, but anyway, the song, If I Were a Carpenter, it's the song we recorded. It's on the album, and also the Wabash Cannonball, he did a duet with Willie's on there, and If I Were in Wild Horses is on there. Those are the 3 songs that came out of the session we did. But I just remember Leon looking at me in the studio when we were doing If I Were a Carpenter, and I'd get to the end of the song, and I start playing this little rhythm groove, and he remember him looking at me, "Watch it now, watch it." Like, I just remember every time I hear that song, I can see him looking over at me out of his eye going, "Watch it now." Like, he's afraid I was going to start rushing, But I didn't. It was just a cool little grooving here. So anyway.
Did you know at that time about his time with the Wrecking Crew and all that?
No. And I've since found out a whole lot more about that, I've got Leon's book over here on the shelf over here, and I've read that. There's a picture of me and Sam Bush playing with him on stage, and it's all about the Wrecking Crew and all about the stuff. No, I just knew Leon as a rock and roll guy, and I didn't know that much about him. And I knew Willie because I used to go to dances in Texas when he was playing there, and that's how I knew. But I didn't know who J.J. Cale was from anybody, But our bass player, Randy Best, he knew Cale. He goes, "Oh, man, that's J.J. Cale. He's the hottest thing going, We didn't know. But Randy, being a North Carolina guy, he was up on the rhythm and blues stuff more than we would. And so that was kind of later big thrill. And Cale and I just became friends after that, kind of, he was just a pal, Oh, we went to Roger Bush's house in, I think it was his name. I know we called him Bushy, in Tulsa, and he was a friend of Leon's, and Leon, I think, was living there. And so Sam, I was real close with Sam in the Newgrass Revival. Courtney Johnson had introduced me to Sam, like in 70. He was sending me real tapes of him playing mandolin stuff, and I was learning this stuff, and he wanted a mandolin player, Sam did, so and he could play fiddle and slide mandolin, and he wanted the rhythm to keep going with mandolin chops, because they had a guy, Ambrose Campbell, playing gourd, rhythm gourd, which you see a couple of them around the studio here, and so Ambrose taught me the real, Nigerian way to play African gourd. He was the best. I mean, he was the best percussionist, and so I was playing rhythm mandolin behind Sam, and that's what I just got to rock out. It was great, and on those shows, Leon always wanted me to stand over here at the end of his keyboard, which would be over there, and so because I was dancing around, man, I was just going nuts with the band. It was the most fun thing I ever did. I felt myself levitating off the stage to get to rocking, and think when you get through that song, how do people not feel this, What else do they do to understand this feeling? You know what I mean? It was so fun, and Leon was so electric, and it was all bluegrass kind of stuff. If you can, get the Paradise, Leon live at the Paradise Theater, I think it is, in Pasadena, California. It is so good. You can see the video. Just the album without the video is great. But anyway, that's how I was the rhythm player for that deal, and it was just fun. And a lot of traveling. We were gone. It was rough. I mean, but we just, we were on the boat. One time we were gone for 3 months, and just come back in for a couple of days, and then we go back out, or for a week. But Leon was really trying to work to make money, so we were going after it. And
were you in a tour bus?
Yeah, Leon's bus, but there's like 10 of us in this one bus, and that was been in 80, so it had air conditioning sometimes.
Heat sometimes.
Sometimes it had air conditioning.
Was Leon in the same bus with you guys?
Oh yeah, Leon and his wife, and we had the the Newgrass guys. And Sam had his wife, and Courtney had his wife. They were our roadies, and Sam and I think sometimes I know she was there with John Calvin's wife, Liz. She was there a lot with us, or maybe she was there the whole time. So that may have been. So that's 7, 8, 9, and me is 10. And then Ambrose is 11. So that's what we had on the bus. It depends on where it was. Little ones to small theaters to Disney World to Disneyland. They put us on a barge at Disneyland and or we came in on a barge. We'd stayed on the barge, so all the equipment was set up. We didn't have to drag it through the park. And, and we were on the water playing, and the audience was on land. So, but I saw an interview with Bruce Hornsby. He said he saw that show, and that's what made him do what he did. And I got to go do a jam deal one night for Sam's birthday, I think it was, or Curtis Birch. Anyway, he was there to play. He played piano and the bluegrass stuff, and it was all just really cool. But I read that's where it inspired him to do what he did with where he went, So I don't know what. It's just kind of cool to know. Oh, what was the girl singer in Mamas and Papas came to see us?
Cass Elliott?
No.
Michelle Phillips.
Michelle Phillips, and she was great. She was just Michelle Phillips, came to see us in Aspen, a little club we were playing, and I got to know Gary Lewis. Gary Lewis and Playboy was a buddy of mine, plays for him right now, Nick Rather. And I didn't know Gary back then, but I went to see, with Nick, we went to Pasadena, California to see Gary play. And he had an album he was signing, and he said, and we talked about Leon a lot, and he showed me Jimmy Karstein's picture, who was playing drums with him on the album, who played with Cale. It was just all these kind of things were just, wow, just, who knows, but I can't remember all the people that came to Leon, but good golly, there was, I remember Cale. remember Mick and Keith came to hear us at Massey Auditorium, I think it is, in Toronto. I remember they were there, but there's always somebody like that coming to see Cale and somebody with Leon. But right now,
Okay.
Well, I'm the one that talked him into moving to town.
Really?
Yeah, I'm the one that talked him into moving into town, and we were real close. And one day he called me out to his house out at Hendersonville. He had a real nice house on the lake, and we were hanging out there, and he was always cooking, and he called me out there. He said, "Billy, I want you to manage me." And I went, "Leon, man, you're a 24-hour-a-day job, and I won't have any other career." "That's right. That's all you'll have is me." And I said, "Leon, I just got more to do than this, I mean, I don't mean to." And he just kind of cut the cord right then, But before that, my partner, Tom Flora, and I had written a song called "It's a Jungle Out There." And Leon, when I lived over on Ted Walker's farm where they started the Full Moon Bluegrass parties, Leon had come out there and stayed with me in his motorhome. He brought his motorhome. He had a recording studio in there, and he came out there and stayed about 4 days. And I just remember me playing some cabasa on this one track. And I don't know if he just remembered this track or what, but I didn't even have the words to it yet, But it's a funky reggae song, and I was playing everything on. And he sat on the couch and watched me, playing my stuff. And then all night long, he'd go out there in his motorhome and record. It was cool. It looked like a wizard out there. So, so the farm I was living on, the little kids would come down there and hang out and look at this guy like, wow, he is far out. But, so, I mean, we were that close where he'd, come out to see me at my house out here in Franklin when I lived there. So I started going out so Tom Flora and I wrote a song, and I said, it's a jungle out there. So I said, "Come on, Tom, let's take it out to Leon's." So we go out there in the evening, and he's in the studio recording. He goes, "Billy, what are you doing out here, man?" I go, "Well, Tom here just wrote this new song for you, and I wanted you to hear it." "Well, let me hear it." So he puts on a cassette player, and "Okay, people, change the reels. This is what we're working on now." Just like that. I'm going, "Well, great. He likes it, Well, Leon had given me the Lynn prototype drum machines. We traveled with those on the road. He had 2 of them. They were huge, man. And Roger Lynn had given him 2 of them because Leon told me he helped design the whole thing. This is what this machine's got to have. It needs to have, it can be able to do this and this and this and this. Who would ever think of all this stuff? But Leon was a really genius guy. I mean, just unbelievable. So he taught me how to program those on the road, and we tried those a couple of times with Newgrass guys since we didn't have a drummer and had Ambrose, and it just didn't work because our tempo started going up and the drum machine didn't go up. And after about maybe 1 or 2 shows, that ain't working, It was a shame it didn't because it sounded great drums. And so I recorded some stuff at my home studio with those, and then Leon let me use them, or one of them, maybe both of them. I had one anyway, I know. And so that was on that thing, and on It's a Jungle Out There, because no, it wasn't, because I'd played all the drums on it myself, so I didn't have that then. Well, anyway, he recorded that song that night. It's really good, and these things just kind of roll into each other, like I'm telling you. You don't stop me if I get going too far, but talking about that, because I think that when I signed with Quincy Jones, that's what he recognized was that drums were, with these Lynn drums, like, man, they were really sounding good. These guys in Nashville we were writing kind of Steely Dan, words with Beatle melodies and reggae kind of groove. So you get the idea, and that's what Quincy Jones heard that he liked. So the Lynn drum machine was a big deal, and it sounded great, and that's what's on the Michael Jackson albums. I don't know. I think he used some other drum machines too, but Lynn, I know Prince he had a prototype of the Lynn, like Leon had, and then Lynn put them out, for sale, and I got the first one in town. I remember my dad loaned me the money to get number 83, so that's how new that was, And I think that's what Quincy dug. I mean, besides Tom singing and the melodies and our ideas, but just the idea that we're sounding really good at that time, for music, for demos.
Do you remember the last time that you saw Leon?
Yeah, I was in Dallas, And well, after that, Leon, I used to go see him when he'd play, you know, and wherever he was, if he was close. And I was going to go see him in Fort Worth when he was playing with Elton. And, you know, his wife said, you know, I got a hold of her because I had her number. I didn't have his number. And she said, oh, please come. You know, well, I got the flu real bad that night. And I just so bad I couldn't go. Not that that's what you're talking about. But then I saw him a whole lot of other times. I saw him in Dallas. A few times I saw him here at the Franklin Theater. Got some good pictures of him and I. And then I saw him at I don't remember the name of the place in Dallas because I was visiting my mom. And I went over there to see him, and he I told him about these speakers, these tannoy speakers here. And I said, Leon, I got some speakers I need to sell. And he goes, Billy, I don't even have a studio anymore. I said, he said, I can't hear. He's wearing hearing aids all the time now. And his hearing had really gone bad. And I can understand why, because when I was standing at the end of the keyboard dancing around over there playing mandolin, his things were so loud. I couldn't hear it for 2 days. My ears would just ring and just I wonder I can hear it all, but my hearing's pretty good. And but I just remember he was going deaf. And when he first moved here, I told him, you need to go have your ears checked. Well, I knew a good friend of mine was an ear, nose, and throat doctor, and he went over and saw him. And the doctor called me and said, he said, man, you don't need to let him near a studio. His ears are really gone. You know, and he started wearing hearing aids right after that. And then when I'd see him, you know, on the bus, we'd talk and tell jokes and stuff. I told him I had a dream about him, a couple of dreams. And I got to tell you, one of them, or two of them, they're really kind of cool. But one of them was, because I was having a lot of dreams about Leon. I don't know why. I missed him, I guess. But one of them, I knocked on his bedroom door, and I go in there, and there's these two guys in like pinstripe suits, like businessmen, bankers or lawyers or something, you know, and he's laying in bed. And Jan's there beside him, and they walk out by me, and he rolls over. He goes, Billy, what are you doing here? And he had one eye right here. He had one eye right there, and I go, oh, Leon. He goes, oh, Billy, you caught me with my mask off. That's great. And so another one I said, Leon, I had this dream about you had a big choir, because he just loved gospel music, you know. And I mean, that was his deal growing up, and he played piano like that, and just liked to get the audience going like that. And I mean, just really, that was his deal, to uplift the audience to where everybody's up there screaming, and he's screaming, and everybody's at that level, which is fun, you know. So I told him, I said, Leon, I had this dream you had like a big choir. You were in a tent, like a traveling show, like old Bill Monroe days, and where you carry your own tent. You had a big revival going on, and you had a choir singing behind you, and you're up there rocking out in your way. And I said, but you were doing everything in a low rap, like, which he liked to sing low. I know when he did singing stuff in L.A., sang a lot of low parts. And I said, you're singing everything in a low rap, like a bass rap. And he goes, wow, that's cool. He said, you ought to do that. And he told me about dreams he had of me. He said, I dreamt you were playing mandolin, and you had one of those striped shirts on, like barbershop quartet wears, you know, and you had these armbands on and had a little mustache. And he said, I just had a dream that's what you need to wear. And he told me some other ideas. He said, you know, I had an idea. You ought to, after every song, when you play on stage, you need to go behind a partition and come back out wearing a different hat or a wig or something. Every time, after every show, you go back and you come back out and doing a different deal. He was just a stage guy, you know. And, I don't remember. I mean, Leon had some bad operations, and he took his face off. He had his brain was bleeding. He had green stuff coming out of his nose, he told me. And he said they pulled his whole face off and fixed it. And, you know, and what had happened, I know when he died, he had they were sticking a tube down his throat and ruptured his vocal cords or something, where he couldn't sing anymore. I think he'd had a heart attack or something, and or a stroke, and I don't remember. And then they had like a celebration of life there in Mount Juliet too, but they had his funeral there. I'll just never forget it. Walked up to the casket. It looked like he was just laying there like he's going to get up and say something like, well, hello, Billy. Just looked like it was just that's the way it felt, And it was just, it was great to see people there like Jim Horn, who played with him forever, did all the sessions out in California with him, one of the top dudes, and he'd recorded with him a lot, and Jim Horn was an old buddy of mine. And just some other people there that knew him, It was a sad affair. And then it was great to go to Celebration of Life there. And I remember Bob Britt got up and sang Somewhere Over the Rainbow, which Leon always sang, and he sang, and Bob Britt had lived with Leon. By the time I brought It's a Jungle out there to him, I think he was living there, Bob Britt, who plays with Bob Dylan now. And he got up and sang Over the Rainbow, Somewhere Over, and he sounded just like Leon. And he loved Leon more than anybody. I mean, Leon had helped him out so much. In fact, Bob Britt and his brother Tom Britt started playing with Leon right when I was leaving there and the Newgrass guys were leaving.